This is an 8-iron and it's a dead shank.
That's the muff. Oh! This has gone left and into the jungle where the elephants go to die.
Two perfect shots, Michael. You got me in the water on one and over the green on the other.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fifth Major podcast. I'm sure you've missed us because it's been a while, but we've got nearly the whole gang back together. We got a very special guest today, making his debut on the Fifth Major, Tom Sproul. That's him at the bottom, in case. We've also got Pete Walker.
I did.
Rory Murphy, still in Lenton.
How are
on
you
his
doing?
own. And finally, fresh back from Tesco, Andrew Cargie.
Evening, boys.
So, boys, just quick little chat. How's everyone doing in lockdown, Fargie? I'm sure you're hard at work.
Yeah, tough over here. Working nights. The 4 a.m. start is not pretty, and it is having its knock-on effects on the course, as I've seen in the past few days.
Yeah, how is everybody been able to get out on the course? Rory, have you got out on the course?
Mate, it's still yet to be decided whether I'm ever going back to the golf course, but no, not yet, is the short answer.
That's interesting. We'll leave that for another pod.
That's for another pod, yeah.
Personally, I'm struggling on the course at the moment. So if anyone's got any tips on how to hit your pitching wedge further than 115 yards, leave it. Like DM me on Instagram, something like that. I don't know. Great return to live golf, I thought, on Sunday evening. What are your boys' thoughts on that?
I thought quite the opposite.
Interesting. I enjoy just watching golf and just being on a Sunday evening, because Sunday evening for me is just all about watching golf. And the fact that I could do that, even if it was four pretty average blokes just chatting and just playing. I don't know. I enjoyed watching people play.
Yeah, I think it made me realise that it's not just the golf I watch when I turn on Sky. It's it's the commentary, it's the fans there. It's like, that event has its own place in the kind of the PGA Tour, European Tour storyline. It just felt so spineless and useless. And
it was almost halfway between watching them play as mates and watching them play on the European Tour.
Yeah, I think we all know how far they hit it as well, and they really wanted to hammer that home. I just thought it just made for really poor TV. I don't know about you.
Also, the chat was so forced. Like, as a massive Rory Mcilroy fan, the whole I've won 2 FedEx Cups worth 25 million. Like, it just makes him come across as a complete
I thought he didn't like that either. I think he's a lot more humble than that. It doesn't seem consistent with any of this.
I'm sure it was in good spirits, but I think they feel the need to when they've got the microphones on and they're filling this 4-hour gap. They feel the need to have some, try and have some banter, and it just doesn't work.
Well, they showed the very few little bits that they had any chat. I mean, I just thought the coverage was awful. They showed actually a lot less chat than I'd liked to have heard. Like, it was just the awful commentator, whoever it was, making some. I can't remember. There's a few things he said that, the one where he just said, "Oh, that was a nice little draw fade." What?
Did he say that?
Yeah, I was looking at my dad I don't think that's really right, mate. But then all the big pauses in between, they could have been talking about their stats this season or going into something. And I know they're probably showing adverts in America or somewhere, but I think they could have done a lot more when they were walking between shots. And just, even then I'm sure they had some chat between the players that probably would have been interesting to hear, even if it wasn't funny or anything like that.
I think it goes to show the amount of manpower it takes to run live golf on NBC or on Sky or whatever. There's a lot of you do need a lot of people there to do highlight reels and God knows, kind of on-course interviews, and even kind of the standard commentary doesn't just happen, I suppose.
And it is hard to see on a skeleton crew what else they can do, because they're not going to be the same in front of the camera as they would when they're just playing as mates on the course, because they're not going to say the same things. And to the same extent, they're not. Although they're playing for charity, they're not playing in the same manner that they would if they were playing for themselves in the European Tour.
The whole Rory Mcilroy line of it feels so much like they have so much more pressure on them when they're putting for someone else's money. Like, don't tell me that he's shaking over a 10-footer to like send some money to a charity compared to like making himself, millions on the FedEx Cup. It's just completely like, it's just not. It's disingenuous, isn't it?
The standard of golf wasn't amazing. Like,
Ricky played well, I thought.
Yeah, where like, I'm an awful. I've got an awful short game, but I was like, I could definitely put it closer than that.
I thought, Matt Wolff did not start strong. I thought, other than his driving, I was like, I don't think he played a couple of chips. I thought, I don't know if obviously it was just the course making him look stupid, because apparently like approach play around those greens are absolutely like treacherous.
Yeah, but it's the commentary's job. You normally have the commentary to kind of explain to you why it's hard, where it's hard, and where to hit it, where not to hit it. And I think the fact that they weren't playing stroke play or really match play, it was just kind of not really clear that the purpose of what they were doing. You never knew their thought process hitting a shot. Like there was no this. If we go long here, we're going to make double. If we hit it left, like we're not going to get up and down. It's just nearest the pin and longest drive. Like I don't think we were really getting an exhibition.
I don't think the skins helped that at all, because I don't like the idea of playing skins for money for charity.
I think there's a reason that the PGA Tour don't have a skins event. Yeah. That this really demonstrated that.
Yeah.
And I thought the closest to the pin was a massive anticlimax.
Yeah, that was awful.
Like, it was a celebration.
If there was ever a time to have a high camera, you'd think that was the one. All of us staring at Wolff's ball and McIlroy's ball from the ground level, trying to work out who's closer.
But Ricky shanked it on that as well.
That was fantastic to see.
So Ricky, bet you wish you had a bit more offset now, don't you?
Anyway, boys, we'll move on. We'll hope the Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and the quarterbacks be a bit better on Sunday, but we'll have to wait.
I'm not hopeful on that front, but happy to.
Yeah, I'm really not. I think it's going to be even worse, to be honest. But anyway, moving on to today's pod, we've got a really exciting one. It's Ryder Cup all-time greatest teams, and this is all-time, so we are going to have some pretty interesting selections, especially from the US team, I believe. Some guys that you might not have heard of, but I'm sure the boys will do very well in trying to explain that. So for the US team, we've got Andrew Fargy and Pete Walker. And
team.
for Europe, we've got Rory and the debutant Tom Sprout. So we'll jump straight in. Team Europe, can I have your captain, please?
So our captain is none other than Paul McGinley, who is unarguably the best captain Europe have ever had to lead a Ryder Cup team. In his 3 Ryder Cups as captain, he secured 2.5 points for Europe, and his stellar performance coached the boys to victory on both occasions.
Yeah, that's right. I thought you were a big... I'm sure you would have loved to be on Team Europe and pick McGinley as your captain, so I know you're a big...
Yeah, I have absolutely no qualms with that choice. Yeah, fully get behind that.
For our backroom team, we've got, obviously, vice-captains go a little bit under the radar, unless you're Michael Jordan. But we've picked 4 to kind of guide this team through, looking at both the mental side, the experience side, and kind of who's going to be fun on the night out at the end side.
Oh, that's really key.
And we've gone for last minute change, Bernhard Langer. It was a toss up between him and Tony Jacklin, but the 0.03% with a 3% difference in points, average points per game was the deciding factor. 8 Ryder Cups in a row, has definitely has seen it all, been through the tough times, and I think has the experience to motivate this team.
Yeah.
And then Thomas Peters, fiery guy, averages 0.8 points every time he goes out. I think as you'll see, it's quite an aging team, and I think he will give that aging team a new lease of life. And a few boys kind of pull out Thursday with backs or hamstrings, I think he'd be more than happy to step in at front.
Is Thomas Pitt is a vice captain honourable?
Yeah, those are 2 vice captains, and then we have 2 more, I believe. Sprouter wants to do.
Yeah, so we have the Iceman, Henrik Stenson,
Was vice. Doesn't go
adding as the 3rd vice to out of our 4 vices in the Ultimate Team Europe. He's played 4 times and is arguably the coolest, calmest bloke in any situation when it comes to competitive golf. And I think he's earned the right to be vice captain for the Europe team. And bringing up the rear on our vice captain list is Lee Westwood, who's got a incredible foursome record in the Ryder Cup.
Also not very interesting.
Last, but by no means least.
Agreed. He's got the 4th highest amount of points won on Team Europe of all time, and he's got the level head needed to secure. He's got 23 points in his career, and he's got the level head needed to guide the boys when it gets tough or when they need a bit of a fight back to trigger.
Yeah, he's also social sec for the week, so we wouldn't want the golf to distract from that important role. And we think with those 4 and McGinley, as the focal point of that leadership group, we think it's a comprehensive backroom team.
I like it a lot. One thing we haven't actually established, boys, is where is this Ryder Cup going to be played?
Ooh. A neutral venue.
A neutral venue. What are we saying, like a Royal Melbourne, something like that?
Or wherever they play the RBC Canadian Open.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because
WGC Mexico. That's a good track.
Yeah,
I'd back the Belfry.
The Belfry.
I
think so.
It's got to be neutral though, doesn't it?
Yeah, true. It's not.
I think like the one that's in like Indonesia or wherever it is. This like rated as like one of the hardest courses in the world.
No.
I don't know.
Don't know what you're on about.
I'll find.
I know what you're on about, Pete. You've sent me it before.
Okay, well that's our venue then.
I think we could
the hardest course in the world.
hardest course in Indonesia is our venue.
We can announce that on next week's pod. We can all research this place. And
yeah. We'll bring it to light. So great choice there by Team Europe, USA. Can you give me your captains and vice captains?
Well, do you want me to go for captain?
Yeah.
So captain, we're going with the man with the Echo shoes himself, Freddie Couples. A lovely bloke. I think he could inspire some followers in the team. I don't think anyone have any qualms with him. He's just seems like the bloke to get on with all ages, and I don't think you could go too far wrong having him at the leadership.
We've seen the effects that having a sort of a questionable character does in the captaincy. With the whole Phil Mickelson situation with, was it Tom Watson? So we've gone for a very friendly face in our captaincy role.
But was that more Tom Watson or was that more Phil Mickelson?
I think it was a bit of both. I think it was
interesting.
Phil Mickelson being overly vocal about the mistakes that Tom Watson made.
Yeah. Well, not picking him.
Yeah. But also had questions about his tactics, didn't he? The pod system.
The pod.
I think the pod system should not be a victim of that team's performances. It's a great model that should really be used all around the world.
And your vice captains, boys?
Bog, you going for vice captains or
you carry on?
Okay. Next, so vice captain. So interestingly, not a player, but we'll tell you why later. Our first vice captain, playing in 8 Ryder Cups, Tiger Woods.
Oh my God!
You haven't picked Tiger Woods.
We haven't picked Tiger Woods. He's not making Team USA this year.
I feel like we might have some defending to do.
Yeah, we'll get back to that at the end.
Yeah,
we've got evidence to back it up, but obviously a very knowledgeable player, world class, and could point his players in the right direction. I think.
Of all the adjectives you could use on Tiger Woods, knowledgeable, I think, is is a bit disrespectful.
Well, he's got 21 ways to play this shot. And then last but not least, we've got another player from a bit of a different era who's played in 8 Ryder Cups. One of the played in the second most matches ever, I think, after Phil, is Billy Casper. He's played in 37 matches. He's got a good record on himself. Won 63% of his matches, taken 23.5 points. But yeah, great experience and a bit of a different head. Maybe work well with some of our older members of our all-star team.
You've got some old boys in there.
I've got some old boys. I mean, we won't be
talking
all the time. We're hoping we're not talking that they would be old boys when we are playing this match, but in their prime,
of course not. No.
He would, he'd be a good back team member.
Yeah. This match does have some seriously restrictive kind of temporal aspects to it.
But we're just talking all-out ability over the time. So yeah, Billy Casper, and that's ending up. We've only gone for 2 vice captains.
Okay. I suppose less ego to put into
exactly.
that.
Keep the changing room less cluttered.
Exactly. We don't want too many chefs in that kitchen, so Fred Couples will.
I can only imagine the sort of the disagreements that Team Europe are going to be having in their dressing room. There's a lot of big opinions in there. McGinley's going to be wanting to look at the stats. We're going to have a lot of different mixes there, and I don't think it's going to work.
Like Thomas Peters in there. It's going to fall apart at the seams, I think.
Yeah, I quite like Team Europe. Peters, Stenson, Westwood are really going to be controlling that.
Yeah, I think Thomas Peters is like really. If you want to break down our backroom team, Peters is the motivator. Westwood is the social sec. Stenson is kind of the cool, calm head on experienced shoulders, and Bernhard Gallagher, obviously, he's the old guy. He's got the experience. His daughter's in media, so he's going to be good at kind of bringing in young audiences and growing the game. We always talk about growing the game. So
our vice captains all complement each other, and under the leadership of McGinley, we think it will be a force unlike any other.
How's Stenson feeling about not being picked, though?
He's too cool to have an opinion, Fargy, I'm afraid.
he obviously, as any great Ryder Cupper, he accepted kind of humbly our request for him to be an essential vice captain, rather than dwelling on the fact that he wasn't in the original 12. He's had a great Ryder Cup record, and there's no point in him wasting that on a great exhibition game.
Yeah, I agree. Right, moving on. Team Europe, can you give me your first pick?
So our first pick for Team Europe is none other than Monte, Colin Montgomerie, with 23.5 points in his 9 appearances in the Ryder Cup, and from one of the most memorable moments ever, from holding that winning putt at the Belfry in 2004. He's been at the heart of many, many memories for Team Europe, and has one of the most singles points ever in Ryder Cup history. So I think it's hard to dispute Monte going out number 1 for Team Europe. And
he has an OBE.
Really?
Yeah. So if the Queen recognises your talents, then you're pretty
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty fair. How many points does he have?
23.5 points.
23.5, wow. Where's that in the all-time list?
I think it's the most singles points, and behind Sergio and Faldo in all-time European Cup history.
He's got a dank singles record, this boy.
Is the singles record, I think.
Yeah, no major though. Well, I suppose that doesn't matter.
Whoa, this is nothing to do with majors.
That's for another pod. Thoughts on that, US guys?
As expected.
Yeah. Very, very beige.
Yeah, we've got some beige ones to kind of lead us out in the Sunday singles, but rest assured, we will get the win.
Yeah. US boys, your first pick.
Shall I take this one, Pete?
Yeah. I've just had a look at that first pick. We'll leave him to the end because I've got something to say about him.
Okay. I don't think. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So firstly, we're going to send out the one and only Jack Nicklaus. I'm sure the Europe team are expecting that. He's played.
I think
28.
they expected Tiger Woods, to be honest.
He's played 28 matches and brought back 18.5 points. So not the best, but not the worst record. It's about 66% win record. Obviously, all-time leading major winner. Pretty expected. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we've probably both got a few that don't really need to be debated. I think Jack Nicklaus could be in that category.
Yeah.
Player ever for anyone?
I tell you what, I don't like his putting technique.
No, works though.
Yeah, it works better than mine, that's for sure.
And so second out for us, we've gone for another one that probably doesn't need to be debated too much. Gone for Luke Donald, former world number one. Kind of led the boys out on Sunday at the Miracle at Medina. Kind of obvious foursomes partnering with Sergio, and averages 0.7 points every time he goes out for Europe. And I think, best bunker player ever, one of the best putters ever, statistically. So I really can't see how there'd be any qualms with that, to be honest.
And a lovely bloke.
Great.
Good, nice lad, Beaconsfield boy, I believe.
Beaconsfield, yeah.
I think he was on the tee in a tournament recently, and I think it was at Bay Hill actually, and the announcer was like, "From High Wycombe."
Yeah, High Wycombe. Yeah, there've been a few. I think there was a few cases, or was it the same one? They made 3 mistakes. They got his name wrong.
The same one.
Well,
And then it was the year he won the event as well. They got wrong, so they were really.
yeah.
Apparently, he won club champs at Beaconsfield, which is it's a lovely golf club, and got some class players. And he won the club champs from the age of 13 until for the next 6 years on the trot.
Did he?
Until he turned pro. He's
vice captain for hopefully this year.
Yeah, and some great pics on Instagram.
So who's your two then?
Yeah, USA.
Well, right. So our second, I'll tell you the one that Vargy may have mentioned first, but I've just changed because basically we were going to pick Jimmy Demaret, who multiple major winner, from the old times, 6 for 6. He's never lost a game, but I just did have a check, and he played in 1947 and 1951, and those 2 Ryder Cups were played USA versus Oregon and USA versus North Carolina. So probably not the most amazing opponents. So we'll leave him out, and we'll move on to our actual second pick. We'll go with the man with the great hat, Sam in Slam, Sam Snead. Played three Ryder Cups and 13 wins, 13 matches, and took 10.5 points. So won over 80% of his games. I mean, most PGA Tour wins ever. Just a barrel of experience to have in the team. Not too many arguments, I don't think, can be had.
Yeah, I think we can't really argue with the point out. We're happy to. We'll accept that.
Europe, third player.
So our third pick is Rory Mcilroy, who is a special player who you want in a team because he's capable of producing that moment of magic that you might need in a Ryder Cup to turn it around. He might not have the best Ryder Cup record on our team, but we just think for his pure ability and charisma on the course, he's got to be in there and got to be up there with our top players.
I respect that.
Yeah. Top that with your number 3.
Did lose to a little fat boy in 2016 though.
Well, I'm interested to see if that little fat boy gets in the US team, but we'll get to that. The moment will come.
Yeah. Number 3, USA.
So for the US number 3, we've got Lee Trevino. Again, he's another one that I don't think you're going to argue with. He played between 1969 and 1981. Won 20 of his 30 games, so 66.67% win ratio. Again, not much more to say about him. Just a very solid player, and I don't think he's missing anyone's team.
Yeah, no, we'll accept that. No qualms there. Our number 4 man who needs no introduction, the late great Celli Ballesteros. Again, incredible singles record. Played 37 Ryder Cup matches. Regarded as one of the most competitive golfers ever. And averages 0.59 per venture for the European team.
His foursome record is better than his singles record. He's part of the most successful foursomes pairing of all time in Ryder Cup history, with Olazabal, who we might get onto later on.
Yeah, our team does take a very European, Southern European flavour for the next few minutes.
I hope it'd be a European flavour.
Yeah.
I meant continental, but you know what I mean.
Have you boys seen that video? I think it was Kiel Island of Olazabal and Ballesteros moaning about the ball compression with Paul Azinger.
No.
Anyway, there's this video and Ballesteros and Olazabal just like basically accusing the Yanks of cheating, as they usually do. And it's just like, he's such a fiery competitor. Just, I hope you have Olazabal in there. We'll see you later. Number 4, USA.
We've got one you may not have heard too much about, Larry Nelson. So he played from 1979 to 1987. And that is important because in 1979 was the year they went from Great Britain and Ireland to Europe. So he's been playing against some of the best competitors in the world. So obviously that was a bit of a golden time. Europe started having some players like Sevi and whatnot. And interestingly, in 1979, he won 5 out of 5 points. In 1981, he won 4 out of 4 points. And the only reason his win percentage is at 73.1% is because they obviously threw him back in 87 and he won 0.5 out of 4. So we'll ignore that. Well, they obviously picked him as a wild card that didn't play out. But dominating 2 Ryder Cups on the trot.
Larry Nelson we're sending out is the one from 1979 and 1983.
Okay.
But
I think as long as you keep picking guys that we've never heard of, you're going to be in great shape. So. lots of unknown quantities for our boys to take on.
What's his record outside of Ryder Cups, just out of interest?
That's a good question.
One for a future pod.
Leave that, patrons at home. If you want to know more about Larry Nelson, I'm sure he's got a great Wikipedia page. So go check that out.
We could do a Larry Nelson tribute pod next week. If we find some real, if there's some good content there will be a Larry Nelson.
I mean, it'll just be a bigger story when Rory Mcilroy gets beat by someone called Larry.
We need to tribute pod soon. We got some great characters that we already like. We got Kiradek. We got
Kiradek after Bernhard, friend of the pod.
Yeah, great
follower of the Instagram.
Yeah, Martin Keimer, soon to be a great friend of the pod.
Yeah,
and of course, one of the great prodigy.
Will Martin Keimer have time for us when he wins his 8 majors that he's going to get in the next 10 years?
I think if I get in touch with Martin Keimer soon and let him know that we are, we're back here. We're picking him for golfer of the decade, I think he'd be all over it.
Him, but also edged out by Alfred Barmer as well.
He's got some work to do in the gym. Anyway, number 5, Team Europe.
So our 5th pick can also not be disputed. Sergio Garcia is the all-time Ryder Cup points scorer in highest points scored for either the Americans or the Europeans, and he overtook that record in the last Ryder Cup and in his win over Ricky Fowler, I think it was. And a fierce competitor, an incredible golfer, and an integral part to any ultimate European Ryder Cup team. Don't think there'll be any disputing that.
How many points has he got?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Sergio.
Yeah.
My question is,
he's played 9 Ryder Cups and averages 0.62 every time he goes out.
Average.
So he might have the most. He might have the most points, but
I don't think it's
that win ratio isn't great, is it?
I'm not sure if he has more than the most from USA points wise.
Most European though. So
Yeah, it's European.
and they
I think I got that wrong. He's got 20.
We just wouldn't like any fake
24 and a half.
facts on the pod, you know.
Oh yeah, then he has. Ignore it.
Oh,
23.5 is the most by
we go.
He's got a great singles record as well.
He does.
yeah.
But he's a bit of a twat.
Yeah.
I think there's a few questionable personalities that we will kind of get into on our team, but I think even for Sergio, obviously he's going to have to play with Luke Donald, so they seem to go on well and get good results, and so really as long as we can keep everyone else away from Sergio during the week and keep him, I have no doubt Westwood will kind of prevent him from getting too carried away at the socials. So I think on results alone, Garcia has justified a pick.
I'm sure if you managed them with some good team building sessions, like the one we used to do at school where you all had to stand at a bench and then reshuffle the order, then I think you'd be absolutely fine.
Pete, I stand corrected. Garcia's got 25.5 points, not 20.
Blimey.
cool. Big hitter.
Let's hope that the greenkeepers at the hardest course in Indonesia.
They probably have the death penalty for that over there.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope Sergio doesn't go around smacking the bunkers or whatever. USA pick number 5.
Yeah, so I'm going to match a questionable personality with another, in my opinion, questionable character. And I think there's going to be a bit of disagreement about this choice. But we have gone with Justin Thomas, a more recent pick. Obviously only played... Sorry?
How many Ryder Cups he played?
So he's only played the 2018 Ryder Cup.
Which they lost.
Sorry?
Well,
More reason, Major.
USA lost that Ryder Cup.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, so despite it being a tough year for the US, it wasn't a tough year for Justin Thomas, coming out with 4 wins out of 5 games, 80% win record. He's obviously got the fire for the team competitions. You know, the whole "I love me some me."
Yeah,
just showed it. But I think you guys are going to have something to say about this.
Yeah, I just think you did kind of cripple yourselves in any kind of debate when you left out the big cap for, first Larry Nelson, obviously. Don't know enough about him to dispute that, but Justin Thomas really doesn't have that much of a Tiger Woods selection, surely.
Tiger Woods has got no team spirit.
Yeah, he's all about me. That shows his Ryder Cup win percentage.
But you couldn't have picked someone with a Ryder Cup win, at least the all-time great US Ryder Cup team, and you've gone.
Is it not more impressive that someone has won 4 out of 5 games in a losing Ryder Cup team than it is in a winning one? Because
I swear, Thomas Peters did that.
Yeah, but he's not an American.
I see where you're coming from, Pete. It is hard to argue his record,
and so we think give him more opportunities, and he will continue to become a really good player. And if you want to have the discussion now about Tiger won 39.1% of his matches in the Ryder Cup history. He's an awful Ryder Cup player.
What's his average points per game?
I don't know.
0.3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, because
what do you study, Rory?
His win percentage doesn't that how many times he halved.
No, it's a percentage of points. No, that is not a win percentage. No. It's a percentage of.
Well, I haven't been saying win percentage. I've been saying how many points per game, and my question was how many points per game. And you do need to know how many games you have to work that out.
Rory, 0.391, which is shocking.
When we say win percentage, we mean
average points per game.
Yeah.
Oh well, then really, it's you guys who need to start, speaking properly rather than criticizing my statistical analysis.
You could actually describe a draw as a win of half a point.
Or you could we got a glass half full guy over here.
I think we're getting sidetracked here.
Yeah.
Pete, it's not a kind of what will be the Ryder Cup of like the next decade. He's the all-time Ryder Cup team up to this point, and like Justin Thomas, he's a good golfer, and he's had lots of success on the PGA Tour and President's Cup, and he played well in that Ryder Cup. But he hasn't won a Ryder Cup. He's an all-time great Ryder Cup team. He's played one and lost.
Yeah, but put in a team with our other players, he would win a Ryder Cup.
You see him as the glue.
No, but he's a necessary accessory to winning.
He's proved his personal ability in Ryder Cup format, hasn't he?
I'll tell you what, lads. There's one way to settle this, and
Could you not say Tiger Woods has the exact same mandate then as Predator?
No,
because Justin Thomas has proved his record when he's playing in Ryder Cups more than Tiger Woods has, hasn't he?
We'll put this up on the Instagram story. Get a poll going.
Get a poll going.
Tiger or
See
JT?
what the fans think.
I think the poll for
Can you make sure that? Can you make sure the patrons are informed of their their playing history on the Ryder Cup? Because I don't want who's the better player, Tiger or JT. I think we're going to get our trousers pulled down if you do that. But
you are going to find it. I think you're finding it very difficult even now. It's a very tough debate to separate from who's a better golfer at the end of the day. It is golf.
I don't think we're finding it difficult at all. I'd pick JT over Tiger, and I'd have Tiger as a backroom stat.
Right, moving on. Number 6, Europe.
Our next pick is kind of continuing the continental kind of flavor we were talking about. As Jose Maria Olazabal. He was obviously in contention for the captaincy role in our team, but given his record, which is very impressive, we need to bore our. I don't think I need to bore our listeners with any more useless fractions, but it's a very good record, and good lad, and speaks Spanish, and he gives us that bit of fire in the middle, and I think Jose Maria would be a great addition to our team.
Yeah,
great partner for Sevi.
Oh, took the words out of my mouth, Tom.
Sorry, Major.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also designed Lasea golf course, which my granddad lives next to, very near Benidorm in Spain.
Could you ask your granddad if we could play the match there?
My granddad's not a member, unfortunately. He's not really into his golf, but I can try to sort something out there. But it might be a bit unfair. I like the hardest course in Indonesia. I think that's USA number 6.
We're going to go with Tom Watson, obviously an all-time legend. Played from 1977 to 1989. Played 15, won 10.5 points. For Rory, that is 0.7 points per game. So pretty impressive, and just an all-time legend.
Yeah, fair enough.
What was that record again? I zoned out.
0.7 points per game.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You definitely didn't zone out, did you?
I thought you said how many wins there were, and then you converted it. But it's okay.
Yeah, let's let the patrons get the calculators out for that one. Number 7, Europe.
So our number 7 is none other than Nick Faldo. He's played the most matches of any European Ryder Cup team player, and although that doesn't make you a fantastic Ryder Cup player, he has got the second most points ever for the Europeans and played in 11 consecutive Ryder Cups. So he's certainly got the know-how of not only how to play the great game of golf, but how to be a part of great European Ryder Cup teams. And he's proven it with a fantastic track record that's hard to argue why he shouldn't deserve a place in our ultimate Ryder Cup team.
I agree. And it'd be wrong, wouldn't it, to not pick someone who's been knighted for the game of golf.
Agreed.
He was definitely not in the running for captaincy as well, so we really needed to get into that team.
Yeah. That was Nick Faldo, wasn't it? I zoned up. Was that?
Yeah.
Like, interesting story for you about Nick Faldo. So, my dad used to work in television industry, and his best mate, who also worked in it, had a wife. And his wife did interviews for the news, and she said to him, "Could you get me an interview with Nick Faldo, who was this bloke's very good mate, like apparently his best mate?" I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like he just won the Masters." I was like, "Oh, yeah, of course I can get an interview." So she went for an interview, and he never heard from her again. And Nick Faldo took her to be his third wife, I think it was.
Oh, jeez. Oh, shit bloke.
He is a shit bloke.
Yeah, as I said before, we're really not we're not talking about personalities here. This is purely golf.
But I would argue those two things are very entwined with each other.
The Ryder Cup.
An unhappy dressing room does not equal good golf.
Or we're going to separate him. We're going to put him in a pod with people he gets on well with, and
and I think his win record is probably overshadowed by some questionable antics away from the golf course.
Yeah. There's a lot of US players that also have some questionable antics.
That's very true.
Would not make our team.
USA number 7.
We've gone with a bit of a throwback, shot caller, in Hale Irwin.
Oh, yeah.
3-time.
No qualms from us on this one. Big Hale fans.
Yeah.
So 3-time US Open winner. And he's got a pretty stellar record in the Ryder Cup. He has played 20 games and won 14. And I'll leave Rory to work out how many wins, how many points per match that is.
What? Could you let me know how many halves he got first?
No, I can let you know he had 14 points out of 20 matches.
Okay, I'll take that.
Including halves and full points.
I think that's 0.7.
You would be right.
Yeah, I'll run that through the algorithm later and get back to you.
Now,
Irwin has had. Just ignore me. Actually, I'm not going to try that. Wiki is not the most reliable page.
Yeah, we can cut this bit out, Pete. Don't worry.
And obviously, Hale Irwin has a very, very stable family life. No extra women involved here.
No. Any relation to the great Dennis Irwin, of course, who wore the shirt behind me? Treble winner? No, I don't think so.
Irish guy, isn't he?
Yeah, Dennis.
Very great lad.
Yeah, Northern Irish. Number 8, Team Europe.
No, this is I don't take this phrase very lightly at this stage, but this man really needs no introduction on the Ryder Cup scene. The postman, Ferrari enthusiast, Mr. Ian Poulter. Again, record, like absolutely incredible record. The catalyst for that famous comeback and win at Medina. Mr. Ryder Cup. Kind of, I don't know, obviously speaking for myself here, but when you think of Team Europe, when you think of the Ryder Cup, you always think of Ian Poulter. And yeah, I know we talked about some controversial characters in our team so far, and Sprouter and I were thinking that Ian Poulter could be the glue, that bit of magic in there to get these boys to gel, kind of transcend the age difference and personality difference and take us over the line at number 8.
And if ever a turning point was needed, or a character to rally the troops and turn the tide of how a Ryder Cup's going, Poulter's your man.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm saying is, up to this point, I think you're 8 down. So I think you're going to need a bit of a.
There's no way Larry Nelson's getting a point.
Poulter's car collection sets him apart from any other golfer. Away from the Ryder Cup, he's got something like 50 odd cars. He's got 2 LaFerraris and an old 275 Ferrari that worth 50 million or something in a car collection.
It does help that he's best mates with like Brendan Hartley.
Yeah, it does help.
He's got I don't know if you boys have ever been to Woburn, but he's got a special space widened for his sports cars. If you didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no qualms of Poults. Ryder Cup legend, probably the best bloke to ever come out of Stevenage. And yeah.
Big up Hertfordshire.
Yeah. Number 8, Team USA.
So played in 7 Ryder Cups from 1979 to 1993. Tom Kite. He played 28 matches, won 17, which is 0.6 points per game, and bit of a legend. Really had a great, dominated that kind of century amongst some other quality players. Obviously, being able to put up those points against a Ryder Cup team full of legends in the Europe side,
and for a whole century too.
Did I say century or decade?
Yeah, century.
Well, not that old. Decade. Apologies, but another class player.
What era is the great Tom Kite from?
Basically the 80s and 90s.
Brilliant.
So
did he win the US Open as well? I feel like he's got a good.
Yeah, I believe so. I think he won. He's got a major or two to his name as well. But I think it's the US Open.
Yeah, Tom Kite put some respect on that name.
Yeah.
But also I've got the course for you. Turns out he's actually still on American soil. It's in Hawaii, Ko'olua. Interesting fact about this course for you. So when it opened, the officials gave it 162 rating for difficulty, but the USGA wouldn't accept that because their upper rating was 155. So they went back to it to give it their own rating, and they upped it to 172. But apparently it is obscenely hard and always soaking wet, so you never get any roll at all.
That's good. That could suit the Europeans.
Well, it's also not in Indonesia though.
No, but it's
different
Hawaii,
concept.
which is
That's
another
not
place.
When are we planning the 5th major tour out there?
That's a cat.
I'm currently working on applications for funding for that one.
Yeah.
That particular project. But I'll keep you.
Would Spider Digital be interested in being an angel investor, Tom?
We'd have to find out.
There is actually, just a bit of news for the patrons out there. There is a few preliminary talks going on between the 5th major and Spider Digital about some kind of partnership, but more to come out on that.
Exciting times.
Very exciting times. Anyway, back to number 9, Team Europe.
So our number 9 is Bernhard Langer, who, despite his memorable missed putt in 1991 to fail to retain the Ryder Cup, his record remains untainted, in our opinion. He's played 10 times for the European team, which is only bettered by Faldo, which is 42 matches, and he's got a stellar record of 24 points for Team Europe. He's got a very wise head when it comes to golf. He's always been a thinker, being able to play his way around a golf course, and he's a great complement to our ultimate European team.
Yeah,
and he's still in great form. Got a great senior career. So, absolutely, he was a dead cert in our team. There was no question of him ever being out of this one.
I might be wrong, but I think it might be in the Masters or another major where he was pretty near the top going into the weekend.
Yeah, it was a Masters and a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was Freddie Couples was up there, obviously, as well, and it was kind of had a nice feel to it, that event, I believe.
USA number 9.
Right, gonna throw in one of the more modern players on our team, controversial player nonetheless. Patrick Reed, also known as Captain America, also known as Fat Prick Reed. He's
most hated player in golf.
Exactly. He's obviously his match against Rory in 2016 will go down as one of the great matches. Absolute class. Always seems to bring his game when he needs it. Apparently has one of the most incredible short games according to Tiger and Brooks Koepka in the world at the moment.
And Josh Wright. He's won 66% of his games, slash 0.67 points per game. 12 matches, 8 points taken away from it. So pretty convincing against some
some stellar class players from Europe at that time as well. And he's always going to get someone riled up. So if it'll that might help us out there.
Yeah. Any qualms on Patrick Reed?
Well, you've been slating us for who's going to play with who, and you've just dropped that bomb.
Yeah.
I presume Jordan Spieth isn't in the team either.
That would be telling.
Yeah. We're not going to release all our start picks.
We will tell you that Webb Simpson won't be there to hold his hand this time.
Yeah, I don't know how I can assess Patrick Reed's a pick unless you've got someone to play with him. Someone tells me him and Tom Kite aren't going to get on so well. Well,
him and Larry.
Are you going to make us?
Yeah.
Are you going to make us, privy to your last three selections?
Well, because we've got some other guys from recent times who really love winning, and haven't had the current negative experience with Patrick Reed, so would be up for playing with him. So I think they can set aside their differences and bring home
if you've conferred with the team and they're happy to play with him, then by all means.
Yeah.
We have word from Lanny Wadkins that he's happy.
Okay.
Who's actually upcoming. We haven't given him away.
As long as there's somebody there to keep an eye on his etiquette and make sure he understands the rules of golf while he's playing, and that's all good.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't think Bernhard Langer, our number 9, will tolerate much from Paddy Reed.
No, I agree.
All the Europeans, actually, they'll be straight in, is it?
Yeah. Which brings us on to our next European, 10. Again, another great record, 0.58, which, as you guys will know by now, is okay. And his name is Darren Clarke, Open Championship winner. Played in 5.
Great in the barrel now, boys.
He's got a stellar Ryder Cup record. He has given us so many Ryder Cup moments. We're looking at Ryder Cup greats, not just players from outside of the Ryder Cup. So just like a Justin Thomas, this guy has delivered constantly in Ryder Cups. Has given us iconic moments. 2006 when he bravely played on after his bravely decided to play despite having just lost his wife to breast cancer, and fought through the tears and kind of delivered a memorable victory for Europe. And I think as an all-time European Ryder Cup team, I think you have to have players like that with that record and that and I've had that connection with fans and audiences. And I don't think I could leave Darren Clarke out of this team.
Not as an Irishman. Would be wrong, wouldn't it?
Absolutely not.
I'd love to see a clash between Darren Clarke and Jack Nicklaus.
Well, that's why we put Darren Clarke out 10.
He's not worthy of standing on the same ground. He flaked his way to a major victory with a few lucky bounces on rocks.
You are comparing arguably one of your best players with perhaps one of our lower picks. And
also this is a Ryder Cup. This is a Ryder Cup team. Like, individual records shouldn't come into this. Like, Darren Clarke has won 4 more Ryder Cups than Justin Thomas. So I think
if individual didn't come into it, then 12 individuals make up the Ryder Cup team. And if his match play wasn't, if his individual record wasn't what you'd be basing it on, he'd just be fine as a vice captain maybe.
But the Ryder Cup
is based on his individual record as a Ryder Cup player, not as a stroke play PGA Tour player.
Yeah,
we're not playing PGA Tour stroke play. We're playing the Ryder Cup.
Flip side, Pete, you haven't picked Tiger Woods, who arguably has the best. Arguably is the best ever individual player.
Yeah, but we have not picked him because of his Ryder Cup. I agree with the point.
What
a great player.
Right, number 10, Team USA.
Right, I think this might come under fire, but the very well-known player in Gardner Dickinson is our 10th player. Now, Who reckons they can guess?
Is it Walter Hagen?
Who can guess what Gardner Dickinson's best finish at the Open Championship is?
Missed cut.
Correct. In 1969, he missed the cut. However, he seems to have something going for him when it comes to the Ryder Cup. He's played 10 matches and he's got a 9-1-0 match record, which is actually the record for the best winning percentage for people who've played a minimum of 7 matches.
0.9.
And he arguably the stats have been skewed because he was, for 5 matches, he was Arnold Palmer's partner. So it sounds like it's been a bit of like a, carrying going on. But, it's hard to overlook a 0.9 points return. So, yeah, Gardner Dickinson makes our team.
Yeah. Completely justifying our Darren Clark at the same time. Great points there, Andrew. Well done.
Can I just say how's he getting picked for Ryder Cup teams when he's not even making cuts?
Because, like we said, Alex, we're not talking about the cuts he's made.
No, but how's he getting picked for
He is a 7-time. He's a 7-time PGA Tour winner.
Okay.
So
I think Rocco Mediate's won 8.
He's not
Rocco.
He's not clueless.
Rocco.
He's finished. He was 5th in the PGA Championship one year. So
Which
he's
year?
not like a world beater, but
I mean, to have ever played a Ryder Cup team, he's got to have been pretty good at some point. He's got to be one, in the top 12.
What era is this guy?
Here's the 70s. But
I do think the 70s was when lots of European teams, or at that stage, Great Britain and Irish teams, were so bad that lots of the Americans decided they would go south and enjoy the hunting season.
It was mostly 60s, to be fair. It was 50s, 60s and 70s.
Yeah, I think it has to be relevant that the European or Great British and Irish Ryder Cup teams were very, very weak until the turn of the millennium.
Yeah, agreed.
We just put him in there to partner AP, who will come on to later.
He was also taught to play golf, I believe, by Ben Hogan, so he's got a lovely swing.
Well,
swing to please the spectators.
So now kind of swing aesthetics are reasons for selection.
It's a spectator sport.
Team Europe.
So our number 11 is the only player in Ryder Cup history to have played more in 3 Ryder Cups or more and to average more than 3 points per appearance. It's Justin Rose. He's been on the winning side twice in his 4 appearances, and he's the Olympic gold medalist. He's been in the key groups for the European Ryder Cup wins over the last 4 years, and we believe is a solid pick in our European team.
He's also got a gold medal.
Yeah.
I think using the whole Olympics win, that's just low. I mean,
I think Justin Rose himself would be happy. I'm not saying it's not part of our pitch for why he should be in the all-time Ryder Cup team, but I'm sure Justin would want that mentioned. The only Ryder Cup player with an Olympic gold medal.
He's got the best win percentage in 3 or more Ryder Cups of any Ryder Cup player in the history of Ryder Cup.
Can we get that as a decimal, please, Rory?
I zoned out again, sorry.
I saw talking about his gold medal. Put it on the Graeme story for the patrons at home.
Okay.
Pulse giving him a bit of banter. Apparently, he normally keeps it in his bag to show. Go around showing people watching him and stuff.
I saw a clip of him playing with his friends, and he's wearing it under his golf top. So halfway around or something, he just whips out his gold medal and puts it over the top of his golf shirt.
It's a bit like how I keep my Bucks medal here. Runner up for the second team.
Who got you to that final fight? I don't have a medal myself. What did?
What did the medal for?
The University of Nottingham second team.
Oh wow!
Came runner up in the the plate competition.
Well, at least our pod members now have the pedigree to comment on golf.
Yeah. We should actually get that up. Actually,
I might start wearing this under my golf attire.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I think if you wear it like to the door, you might get invited into the European team socials. The Ryder Cup.
Definitely. Team USA number 11.
We'll go with the legend, the man himself, Arnold Palmer. Played from 1961 to 73. Obviously, probably the first.
Have I not done Arnold Palmer?
I don't know. Have we?
No.
Don't think we have, mate.
I swear
so
I did first.
No, you mentioned him.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
You mentioned him.
Jumping the gun as per usual.
So, pretty much the first superstar of golf in a way. You know, he really kicked off prize money and everything for golf. But not only that, but obviously his record in the Ryder Cup was awesome. You know, 32 matches played, took away 23 points. Very convincing, but also very good looking fella. Saw some pictures of him recently. Whoa, he's a dashing bloke.
Especially when he got that fleece on as well.
Yeah. So, and a great logo as well. I do love the umbrella logo. But yeah, I don't think you can argue too much with having him in the team.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And to take on Arnold Palmer, no qualms there in the anchor match of what could be one of the greatest Ryder Cups ever. Yeah. We're fighting fire with an equally big flame. 4 Ryder Cups under his belt, 15 matches, 8-5-2 singles, 3-1-0 foursomes, and 4-2-1 foursomes. 0.6 is his number. 2010 US Open champion at Pebble Beach, Mr. Graeme Mcdowell.
Oh.
The Ryder Cup king from Celtic Manor, all around great guy. I think if Poulter had never existed, Graeme Mcdowell would be Mr. Ryder Cup, and I think he's probably got the golfing pedigree that Poulter doesn't, which makes him, an outstanding selection at number 12 to take down Arnold Palmer on 18
11
in front of the galleries, the patrons, and bring this historic exhibition match to a conclusion.
I'd like to see an Instagram poll of that one: Graeme Mcdowell versus Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
If we mentioned it was in the Ryder Cup, I think the polls
could lose by slightly less.
we're also well, firstly, any qualms on Graeme Mcdowell, because I think that's a bit of a.
I've got a lot of qualms.
Yeah,
all round.
I just think you've got some legends that are taking a miss. That you
go on.
I can't name off any of them top of my head, but I can't see.
Would you like my honourable mentions to finish off the presentation?
Well, where's Ian Woosnam?
Yeah.
The record's not good enough.
Okay. Where's Tony Jacklin?
Tony Jacklin record not good enough. Tony Jacklin was in contention for a managerial position, but
the only thing is Tony Jacklin is.
I'll tell you what, we'll just hold your honourable mentions, Rory. We'll finish off the USA team.
Yeah.
Number 12.
You, Foggy.
Yeah.
Who are we picking?
This is a tough one. Can I talk you through what the people we had, or because we were struggling for the 12th pick?
Tiger Woods.
Talk us through it, Foggy.
So we've got a few names in. Obviously, Phil Mickelson. He's played. I think he's played in the most Ryder Cups out of anyone. Unbelievable. Unlucky that he didn't get picked for the 2018 one. Or did he? Why does this say he got picked for the 2018 one? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Mickelson's got 21.5 points. He's America's third highest point scorer in all-time Ryder Cup.
Mickelson played in France because it's always the montage on Sky Sports.
Yeah,
he hooks it into the water on the par 3.
Yeah.
Against Molinari, I think.
He played 11 or 12 on the trot? Right.
Yeah, and he's got. The reason we didn't pick him is because he hasn't got the best record. He has got 21.5 points, but he's played 47 matches, which works out at about 0.45 points per game.
Wait, so you are picking him?
No, we're not.
Okay.
I'm just saying he was in the thought process.
Apologies. I zoned out.
It's been a lot of that tonight.
Yeah.
Fred Couples, our captain, also has he's a very worthwhile mention. He's only got 45% win ratio though as well. So it all comes down to we end up picking a man called Lanny Wadkins, who played between 1977 and 1993. Played 34 games and won 21.5 points. So he's got the same number of points as Phil Mickelson, but in about 3/4 of the games. Gives him a win percentage of about 63%. So he's made the cut above Phil Mickelson, and I think there'll probably be some comments on that.
I mean, he's also had a pretty stellar career outside the Ryder Cup. He's a name we probably should be more familiar with. I mean, he's played in that golden era of Europe, so he's played against great competition. So you can't argue it's not really pre 1979 when it was just GB and I. But he's had 21 wins on the PGA Tour. He's won the PGA Championship in 1977. He's come tied third 3 times in the Masters, tied second in the US Open, and tied fourth in the Open. But you know, like you said, those wins in the Ryder Cup at that time, I think, very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no qualms about Lanny Wadkins at my end.
Good selection, good find that.
Yeah, I still the lack of Tiger in the presence of Justin Thomas is my main one. But I do think, Barry, I do kind of side with you on leaving out Phil Mickelson. And if you're kind of leaving out Tiger on the grounds, he doesn't really care that much. I think Phil does kind of fit into that category a lot. Like those are guys that have been very much motivated by their own kind of personal single achievements in singles events.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to keep your team clean from those kind of egos, then of course that will be one way to go about it.
Any honourable mentions, US team, and then we'll do some from Europe.
Some class players over the years. Payne Stewart played. You know, he obviously played from 1987 all the way to 1999. Would have played in a lot more if he hadn't obviously tragically died in the plane crash. But played 19 matches, won 9, so not a bad record, obviously. But just I think someone that was very well respected amongst all players across the world, and really I think showed from his major win as well. Had some big game and big moments, I think. But obviously would have been quite a valuable player to have on the team.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No Jim Furyk?
No Jim Furyk.
He's lost more times than anybody else for the Americans. He's got the best loss record of all time.
Yeah,
Were you ready to slam us if we put in Jim Furyk? Had that stat way too the bait was out.
Just off the top of my head.
Jim Furyk.
He's the classic false reading for experience. Experience has done absolutely nothing for Jim Furyk.
He's tied with Mickelson on the most losses.
No, really.
They've both got 20 losses.
Shut me out there.
That's so good.
No Steve Stricker?
Nope.
No Anthony Kim. Should go and Justin Thomas.
We did.
Imagine
Chat about Anthony Kim. He has got a good record.
Good record, but just hasn't played in many because he's.
Yeah, but imagine that
been
all-time
busy.
Ryder Cup, and you just bring out Anthony Kim as pick 12.
That is true.
To be fair, I would see that as he's got more Ryder Cups than Justin Thomas, and he played as well.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Anthony Kim and Justin Thomas?
We more went with Justin Thomas as we thought on his day. I mean, we're thinking potential if we gave him a few years. to get another Ryder Cup or two under his belt. We were more thinking a bit of mix between potential for the future as well.
So it's not an all-time Ryder Cup team then.
Well,
we'll leave it for the patrons at home. That one.
We've sort of done the same thing in picking. So you could argue that McIlroy, for example, he doesn't have the best win record in Ryder Cup history, but he's one of those players that can really add something to a team when needed. And in an all-time team, if you're thinking about the next Ryder Cup and your all-time team playing together in one event, then I can see that point of view.
How many Ryder Cups has Rory won though? Celtic Manor, Medina, Glen Eagles, and France. So he's won 4 out of 5 he's played in, I believe.
That's true.
So,
yeah, 0.54 isn't it's not great compared to some other players you've mentioned. A good way behind Jack Nicklaus, say.
Yeah.
But it's that's a very solid record. I think.
Yeah.
Let's just say you don't want to step onto the first tee and be playing Rory.
You're hitting a lot of your second shots first.
Yeah. But likewise, Tiger though, is that not?
Yeah.
No, I'd really like to.
Logic
I think you kind of know.
Even Abraham Answer wanted to play Tiger.
Yeah, look how that ended up there.
Yeah,
I think you kind of know. You know Tiger's on the beach when he plays the Ryder Cup.
Was that the biggest loss of all time?
What?
Was that when? Maybe I'm getting mixed up.
Oh, actually, my facts, fellas, which I found. I was really hoping some of you would bring in the late great Walter Hagen at some stage.
No, he only played his 2-1s also against states rather than against it wasn't even GB and I don't think. I think it was.
Still, he holds a very important Ryder Cup record. The only player to get beaten 10-8 in consecutive Ryder Cups by the same player.
Oh.
Incredible.
Question is though, did he have his mandatory bum tattoo as per NUGC rules?
I don't know how things went in 1929 and 1931, but with Lee Westwood as social sec, there would have been a couple of bum tattoos for that one.
You can't imagine. Honourable mentions for Europe.
Yeah, I've gone for obviously Henrik Stenson just missed out. Kind of the Iceman, kind of a classic Ryder Cup face. Unfortunate, but again, as I said, I don't think he was that bothered. And Peter Oosterhuis, a phenomenal Ryder Cup record, played in 8, 0.53, but just again, I talked about kind of Darren Clarke and kind of my Ryder Cup moments, Ryder Cup memories. I couldn't tell you a single thing about Peter Oosterhuis's career. I think for that reason alone, he justifies exclusion from our all-time Ryder Cup greats team. Didn't win many, it doesn't help.
What I'm surprised about is you didn't pick your favourite Martin Keimer.
Yeah, he's another honourable mention. I think he will become a Ryder Cup great when he after his spell as golfer of the decade. I don't know if any of you saw the European Tour Instagram put up a nice thing of him playing St Andrews in a simulator, and I just watching that. Although you could argue that's not very close to real golf, but yeah, he was inspiring so much confidence to go with the confidence I already had in him.
Yeah.
Gonna double down on Martin Keimer there. And then kind of a couple of fun honourable mentions. Undefeated. The most matches to be played and be undefeated, or have a 100% win record. Mr. Paul Broadhurst from the 1991 Ryder Cup. He came, he saw, he conquered, and that was his Ryder Cup career done. And our final honourable mention, Mr. Victor de Buisson, who I lobbied long into the night with young Tom Sproul to get this man into the backroom team, or the team itself, and we just couldn't justify it. It was a very emotionalized debate.
It was indeed.
Yeah, gave again, one of those guys gave us great Ryder Cup memories. Had his time in the sun, but just didn't have the game to, or doesn't have the results on European or PGA Tour to kind of be a be a stalwart in that team over a long period of time.
Rory, got an interesting one for you about Peter Oosterhuis's career.
Yeah.
So
by the way, it's 0.55, not 0.53.
But he finished second in the Open twice. But the interesting one is he won the European Tour Order of Merit 4 years on the trot, which is pretty impressive.
Incredible golf. He really has got an astonishing career.
He's an amazing golfer, but he's definitely worth the mention.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most worthy of the honourable mention alongside.
And a nice commentating voice as well.
Sorry?
Nice commentating voice as well.
It's a soothing one, that's for sure.
It's no Peter Alice, but
no.
Okay, boys, I think we'll wrap up proceedings there. I hope patrons at home enjoyed the pod today. Something a bit different. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll be running an Instagram poll when this is all out. Firstly, on who makes the US team, Tiger Woods or Justin Thomas. And secondly, hopefully you can all watch this and then go and vote. I'm going to find a way, probably on Instagram, to vote whose team, Europe or USA, wins this one. But thanks a lot for joining. Cheers, boys, for wasting your Wednesday night doing this with me. And we'll hopefully see you on the next one. Cheers.
later.
Cheers, Alex.
Cheers, Major.
Cheers, Major.